SP.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you so much for your courtesy and your indulgence. Ovie Omo-Agege, Delta Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to move the motion for the proper constitution of the Delta State House of Assembly by restoring Ethiope West State Constituency 1 with code number SC/11/DT by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in compliance with the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, and order of the Federal High Court. Mr. President, the Senate notes that the Delta State House of Assembly currently has 29 elected members, which is less than 3 or 4 times the number of seats which the Delta State has in the National Assembly, and hence does not conform with the combined effects of the provisions of Section 6, 36, 91, 112 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. Mr. President, reminded that Ethiope West State Constituency 1 with code number SC/11/DT in Ethiope West local government area of Delta State was duly created and approved by the National Assembly as a separate and distinct state constituency to be represented by an elected member in the Delta State House of Assembly, and this constituency has been duly stated and identified in gazettes of the federal government under the captions, quote unquote, "Know your senatorial district, federal constituencies and electoral wards in Delta State," end of quote. Mr. President, further reminded that Ethiope West State Constituency 1 was and is made up of the following electoral wards: Jesse Ward 1, Jesse Ward 2, Jesse Ward 3, Jesse Ward 4, Mosoga Ward 1, and Mosoga Ward 2. Observe, Mr. President, that Ethiope West State Constituency 1, consisting of Jesse Ward 1, Jesse Ward 2, Jesse Ward 3, Jesse Ward 4, Mosoga Ward 1 and 2, satisfies the requirements of Section 113 of the 1999 Constitution as altered, and this justifies its creation and approval by the National Assembly. Mr. President, worried that despite Ethiope West Constituency 1 being a duly created and approved state constituency by the National Assembly, pursuant to the provisions of the Constitution, INEC willfully, negligently, unlawfully, or arbitrarily omitted or removed this state constituency 1 with code number SC/11/DT from the approved list of state constituencies previously suppressed, addressed to the Clerk of the National Assembly on the 2nd of June 2004. Mr. President, concerned that this singular willful, negligent, unlawful, or arbitrary act by INEC has created a real and continuing political suppression and oppression of the electorate, stakeholders, and good people of Ethiope West Constituency 1. Cognizant, Mr. President, that to stop the continuing suppression of their constitutionally guaranteed right to proper parliamentary representation, representatives of the electorate, stakeholders, and the good people of Ethiope West Constituency 1 lawfully took their grievances to the Federal High Court holding in Warri and challenged the actions of INEC in suit number Federal High Court /WR/CS/21/215 for omitting and removing their constituency from the approved list of state constituencies previously suppressed, addressed to the Clerk of the National Assembly on 2nd of June 2004. Mr. President, aware that in a well-considered judgment delivered by Honorable Justice M. Shitu Abraka on the 25th day of March 2015, the Federal High Court upheld the arguments of the representatives of the electorate, stakeholders, and the good people of Ethiope West Constituency 1 and granted their reliefs. The judgment and judgment order of the court, Mr. President, are attached herein. Copies of the certified copies of the judgment have been distributed, Mr. President. Mr. President notes that the Senate notes, sir, that in its judgment, the Federal High Court unequivocally declared that the Delta State House of Assembly as it currently stands is not properly constituted in line with the provisions of Section 6, 36, 91, and 112 of the Constitution as amended. And the same court ordered INEC to restore Ethiope West Constituency 1 as a state constituency with an elected member in the State House of Assembly. Mr. President, the Senate further notes that the Federal High Court also declared that INEC does not have the discretion or the power whatsoever to suppress the existing Ethiope West State Constituency 1 with code number SC/11/DT having been lawfully approved by the National Assembly. Hence, the suppression is illegal, unlawful, null, and void. Mr. President, the Senate recognizes that amongst others, the Federal High Court equally directed INEC to immediately restore and conduct election to fill the seat for Ethiope West Constituency 1 in the Delta State House of Assembly. And the electoral area covered by this constituency shall be the present JC Ward 1, JC Ward 2, JC Ward 3, JC Ward 4, Mosogas Ward 1, and Mosoga Ward 2. Mr. President, the Senate observes that INEC is yet to comply with this unambiguous decision, declarations and directives of the court made since the 25th day of March 2015. Accordingly, results, Mr. President: 1, approve the immediate restoration of Ethiope West State Constituency 1 with code number SC/11/DT, comprising of JC Ward 1, JC Ward 2, JC Ward 3, JC Ward 4, Mosoga Ward 1, and Mosoga Ward 2, in line with the decision, declarations, and directives of the Federal High Court. 2, direct INEC to immediately restore Ethiope West State Constituency 1 with code number SC/11/DT, comprising of JC Ward 1, JC Ward 2, JC Ward 3, JC Ward 4, Mosoga Ward 1, and Mosoga Ward 2. 3, direct INEC to comply with this resolution ahead of the next general election and election of the members of the next Delta State House of Assembly in compliance with Section 115 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended by restoring Ethiope West State Constituency 1 in Ethiope West local government area of Delta State, consistent with the orders of the Federal High Court. And finally, to seek the concurrence, Mr. President, of the House of Representatives to the resolution in line with Section 115 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. Mr. President, I so move. Thank you.
I will take only one contribution before I go into the prayers. Deputy Chief Whip.
There is a court judgment, and for which copies have been made available to everybody to see and verify. So I think without taking much of our time, given the fact that, of course, we've agreed not to overstay in this chamber, I want to say that this motion as presented is in order, and I urge my colleagues to support the prayers because it's a straightforward motion as it is.
Thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, we go to the Mosaga Ward 2 in line with the decision, declarations, and directives of the Federal High Court. Those who have this prayer say aye. Those against any the ayes. Prayer 2, direct INEC to immediately restore Ethiope West State Constituency 1 with code SC/11/DT, comprising of JC Ward 1, JC Ward 2, JC Ward 3, JC Ward 4, Mosaga Ward 1, and Mosaga Ward 2. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against any the ayes. Prayer 3, direct the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC to comply with this resolution ahead of the next general election and election of the members of the next Delta State House of Assembly in compliance with Section 115 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended by restoring Ethiope West State Constituency 1 in Ethiope West local government area of Delta State, consistent with the orders of the Federal High Court. Those in favor of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. And prayer 4, seek the concurrence of the House of Representatives to this resolution in line with Section 115 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as altered. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues. Next time, probably because of the COVID situation, we may not be sitting after 3 o'clock unless the situation demands so. Just to be cautious. With this, we have come to the end of today's plenary session, and the Senate is hereby adjourned till tomorrow, Wednesday, the 11th day of February 2021. Tomorrow is Thursday, not Wednesday, so I have to put it again. Maybe I am tired. The Senate is hereby adjourned till tomorrow, Thursday, the 11th day of February 2021 at 10 a.m. prompt. Thank you.
ofufe.